Erika, you mentioned one thing about building your teams, right? In-house and this and the other. So I suppose, would you say there is a shortage of SEO talent? How key is it? Or is it a case that you can find the talent, or should you grow your own talent? What's your strategy at Semrush for your team there?
Okay, so I think we hear a lot about the lack of talent. Maybe I'm optimist by nature. I didn't know that about myself, but I don't see that. I would say I want to avoid saying it depends on an SEO discussion. But, you know, my team is spread across different countries, you know, globally, and I haven't really struggled to find the right people for what I wanted to build, right? But if you ask me how I approach it or what I see, is that it's not necessarily as easy to find people who have, you know, exactly what kind of skills you want and experiences, and, you know, they can share the same kind of motivations as you do. So I usually start with picking, that's what I say to my team. I want to pick people that I want to work with. I want to go, you know, to the office or to Zoom meetings every day with, and feel happy and lucky to work with them, and people that then, you know, we can help each other learn and progress. So naturally, when you're building an in-house team, you will need those members, or, you know, you will need those skills that someone needs to have, and that is what takes a bit longer to find. I think that's where the struggle.
I think what's been interesting watching companies try and build in-house teams is they're really nervous, thinking, right, this person's got to be like a wizard, right? They've got to do all this magic, and they get too focused on the technical skills and the jargon and all this, forget whether or not they're actually a decent human being.
But that's the second point, though, and you're right about that. So one of the great things about SEO, and I've experienced this firsthand, is that it is such a great thing to dive into, that you can come from so many different backgrounds and still be amazing at it, right? So sometimes when I hear other people, we're talking about it and they struggle, and actually if they expand how they look at it a bit and look for people from different backgrounds, right, and different skill sets, and they can still find the perfect candidate. Although if someone is focusing just on, I want them to have all those years of experience on this thing and that thing, I think with SEO you have to decide in advance what's the most important things you cannot do without. You need someone to bring those skills into your team because, for example, no one has them right now, right? And then the rest of them are things that you can work with and build and shape together. So that's crucial in how I've built my team, at least, is what kind of skills I couldn't find elsewhere.
Yeah, I think doing that skill gap analysis is probably an overlooked part of the process, actually, because I think a lot of people or a lot of in-house teams or companies might look to their SEO team to do the SEO work, where there's actually potentially skills elsewhere within the company already. So thinking about, as we mentioned, like, you know, developers and working with new technologies, a lot of SEO components could be adopted by development teams with a bit of education. And the same with in-house PR teams. So education and training on how to shape that work and do it for link building purposes.
And the merchandising team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like some of the
writing title tags and
all of that merchandising team could be a mini SEO army.
So there's probably a surprisingly strong amount of SEO knowledge or potential within a lot of businesses that's being unharnessed. And the vision is, let's build an SEO team without thinking, well, we've got a lot of SEO knowledge elsewhere and potential. How can we use this to?
So it's a bit like what Shahid said before. SEO is actually the backbone of your e-commerce and platform, and we need to re-educate people that SEO isn't a thing that happens in the corner. This runs like the blood through the veins of your e-commerce platform, and we all should be educated and aware of this. And it's not like a dirty word that sits in the corner.
No, absolutely not. And I think, sorry, go on, Erika.
No, you go. So sorry.
No, I was going to say, as senior SEOs, we also have a responsibility to pass on the training of what we've learned. You know, I've been really fortunate to work with some amazing people all over the world. I've learned so much from them, and I'm still learning today. And all I want to do every day is pass on the knowledge that I've been fortunate enough to learn, and see that knowledge flourish.
Yeah.
So, you know, coming back to in-house teams, for me, when looking at in-house teams, it kind of falls in kind of two general buckets. You kind of look for someone with a bit more of a technical focus, or someone with a bit more of a content focus. It's probably a rare occasion that you're going to find a hybrid person with quite proficient skills in both areas. You know, it really comes down to kind of what's the goals of the business. Do you need to grow your business in terms of traffic? Are you dealing with digital transformation and working through a migration? All of these different requirements are going to have different needs in terms of what skill sets do you need from your people. And when looking at recruitment, for me, it's about again, if you've got an open mind where you're happy to teach and pass on that knowledge, if you develop sound processes in-house that are more than possible, you can often scale up these processes. And then you can translate these processes into other languages. So one of the biggest problems with in-house recruitment that I see, regardless of sector, is getting SEOs in English pretty easy. German, yeah, not so bad as well. You can get, you know, pretty good SEOs in German. As soon as you start going into other languages, that's where you really find a drop off in experience or skill sets. And then that's where what I try and advocate is we have a universal language process, whatever that may be, for keyword research or technical discovery, and then that process is translated into all other teams and languages. Yes, to try and build out your team in the way that you want to shape it.